avoid notes. It's not really a term I like to use, but it's the popular one. These notes that conflict with the chord. The major and dominant chords, it'd be the 4. For minor chords, it's the 6. Now again, that does not mean they're bad notes. If you play a flat 6 over a minor 7 chord, you'll be playing Aeolian, which might sound kind of dark in its way. If you play a regular 6, it'll sound Dorian, which might kind of sound funky. Literally funky, like funk music. It'll sound kind of like a James Brown minor or something. Or it's commonly done by blues players in a minor blues. But that's something to talk about in depth some other time. And then just a quick preview so you guys have more to look forward to. There's the 3 kinds of notes: chord tones, scale tones, and passing tones. Passing tones are the notes that are in between the chord tone and the scale tone. Okay? So, as an example, between the C and the E, between the root and the third, there's a scale tone, which is our D. That's the 9 or the 2. In between the 2 and the 3, there's a D sharp, which would be a sharp 9 or sharp 2. You never hear sharp 2 being spoken, but it's the same pitch. It's what it would be. Sharp 2 is actually sharp 9, okay? Now, passing tones are like if you're walking from your house to your friend's house, and on the way, you encounter someone unpleasant. Now, how brief the encounter, how removed you are from the encounter, the less hostility you feel, the less violation you feel. It might make something interesting to tell your friend about when you get to his house. So passing tones can be very pleasant, but they in themselves are not very pleasant. So like an example would be that sharp 9. Here's the root, here's the third, and the 5th of our triad. And here would be our sharp 9. Sharp 9 is exactly the same as a flat third. Now this note is going to sound treacherous over this note. It's going to sound just totally horrible. Here's our chord. And here's this note. Which my ear is so perverted that it sounds nice now. I was playing a C triad with a sharp 9. But you can pass by that passing tone like this to your 5th. So instead of, you got, there's an exercise you can do. It's really, should talk about it later, but there's an exercise you can do where you, instead of playing the 4 notes of the triad like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, you take that 4th note and you play a fret above or below the next chord. So just taking it from below as an example, C major, then a fret below the next chord, which is C major, and then a fret below the next chord, which is E7. So I'm going to play E flat, up to E, A7. Here I'm playing a fret below it. Here's E7. I'm anticipating the note by playing. Yeah, exactly, right before you move to it. And it doesn't have to be an 8th note, it could be a quarter note. Or even if you want to really pull out the tension, you could do it even like a half note or something, but that'd be pretty intense. Now, and then of course you can play, the old rule was this: a fret below or a scale tone above. However, you could do a fret below or a fret above, either way you wanted. So this would be a scale tone above. So like C, scale tone above, back to C. Scale tone above E. So that'd be. But here would be a fret above. So it'd be like C6, fret above, which is nice, sounds really passing tone, just one fret. Now, if I'm doing it every time, it sounds kind of obnoxious. So what then you want to do is you want to alternate between your fret below, your fret above, maybe like this. You could do it. What I would do is I would do it on the A section, into the B section, into the next song on the next page, and just like blam, open the book at random. And you don't. In this case, you won't really be focusing on playing musically, as blasphemous as that sounds. What you're focusing on is acquiring a skill that you can employ at will. You can go, oh yeah, okay, and you'll basically, it's like when you build a vocabulary. You're not trying to create a moving dialogue for a movie or something, you know. You're trying to build a vocabulary, you're trying to learn new words, and it comes down to being as simple as when you're a kid writing the word 10 times and definition 10 times, or you know what I mean. It's really a lot like that. You're tracing letters, and then you're learning to put the letters together into words, and then you're putting the words together into very meaningful, conceptual speeches and articles, or whatever, however you employ your language. It's the same way with music, and so we don't have to actually focus on being musical all the time. When we are learning how to walk, you know, we don't worry about the Olympics. And anytime you got a new skill, it's like learning how to walk again, which is why there's a lot of room for humility in the greatest of players, because you could be an Olympic champion at, you know, the swimming or whatever, and it just gets you nowhere when you're in a bowling alley. And music can be that diverse, where we expect ourselves, or oftentimes musicians are expected to be